Scavenger, featuring Julian Bane as the Doctor. This audio is adapted from a short story written by Quinton Notwen. Narrated by Julian Bane. The Doctor coughed as the piping nearby steamed a green exhaust. He waved his hand in front of his face, trying to dispel the horrible gas. He reached into the breast pocket of his vest and pulled out a dirty satin handkerchief and coughed into it. He slipped into the world after the fleets had left. Mountains of broken ships, machines, and assorted debris covered the ground. Here and there a body was found burnt and mangled beyond recognition. The atmosphere was heavy with the smell of decomposition. He shuffled forward, looking carefully at the shards of metal and broken frames of machinery. The Kazon were probably already in orbit, and not far behind would be other scavengers that hung out on the fringes of the engagement zone, hoping to find a prized piece of technology or something else they may be able to hold for ransom. He found a promising pile of what looked like a crashed bowship. He took out his sonic screwdriver and slowly proceeded to work on what he concluded was the seam of a bulkhead door. He needed a set of mercury fluid links and some Zaton 7. The bulkhead hissed loudly in response to his sonic screwdriver. He slipped his screwdriver back into his jacket pocket and then grabbed the edges of the door and heaved, straining against the warped frame. The metal growled as it ground against the frame, but he was able to shift it enough to slip inside. The air inside was cold, or colder than the outside. It was dark, too. Only the flashing of small sparks showed brief half-formed scenes. The Doctor fished into his satchel and pulled out a small flashlight, turned it on, and swept a beam of light across the expanse in front of him. The vessel was massive on the inside, which was to say something, as the bullship was enormous on the outside as well. This must be the fighter bay, the Doctor murmured to himself as he waded through the destruction. He saw remnants of war TARDISes crumpled under their own dimensional shear. He looked around and found a barcode on the far wall. He scrambled towards it. The Doctor placed the flashlight between his teeth and looked into his satchel and pulled out a small tablet. The screen flickered to life, shining an unseemly organic green. He lifted the tablet up to the barcode. It beeped, and then the map morphed into 3 dimensions on the screen. If I'm here, then the engine room should be, this way. It had taken him hours to get through the large blast doors. The last few times he had to do this, he'd found not quite dead Time Lord soldiers. He shuddered silently to himself as he thought about it. At first he tried to help them. However, over time he'd come to find that most were so far gone they were beyond help. They simply regenerated further and further, becoming more horrific with each burst of light, only to eventually die as their bodies degraded beyond any saving. He turned a corner and heard something rustle in the dark. He swept his flashlight around. There was a tangle of beams balled up in the corridor ahead. The Doctor winced involuntarily and looked away. "Help me," a whisper wafted up from the dark. The Doctor swallowed hard. It was worse when they were still conscious. He turned the light back towards the source of the whisper. The soldier was caught underneath the metal pylons. There was blood everywhere. The Doctor couldn't see past the man's waist, so he ran over to the soldier. He couldn't be too old, possibly only a century at most. "I'm here. Now hold still." "Who are you? You aren't one of my crew." The soldier groaned and looked up at the Doctor. His eyes were brown like his hair. His skin was pale, probably due to a blood loss. "Look, now's not the time, soldier. This pylon is bisecting you at the waist." The Doctor took a deep breath. There was no way he was going to move that pylon on his own. "Have you regenerated yet?" The soldier shook his head and coughed. Speckles of blood flung from his lips onto the floor. "Where's my crew?" "The bowship crashed. The crew likely transported out or are all dead now. But I am here now, so it could be worse. Just try not to regenerate. I've got to get you free first, or you're going to just burn out." The Doctor looked at his tablet. The bowship schematic was glowing in front of him. Something caught his eyes. He smiled. "Bingo." "What?" The soldier looked up at the Doctor, wincing. "I'll be right back. If you're lucky, I can get you out of here." the doctor said, smiling, and turned and ran. Around the corner there was a junction box on the floor. In the box were 2 spheres. The doctor took out his sonic screwdriver. He removed the spheres and turned and ran back to where the soldier was. The soldier's eyes were closed. His chest wasn't moving. The doctor reached down and opened one of the soldier's eyes. The pupils didn't respond to the flashlight. No, not now. Just hold on. The doctor scrambled to jam the spheres under the pylon. He looked back at the soldier and grimaced. He saw the glow beginning. The miracle was burning to get out. The doctor reached down and touched the soldier's forehead. He winced as he felt the pain ripping through his fingers and up his arms, through his spine, and across his entire body. You can't. Not now. The doctor growled, fighting the young man's biological responses. Just enough to make him conscious. Come on, pull it back. You can do it. The soldier screamed, jerking up from his waist. He grabbed the doctor's head and stared at him upside down. You're him, the soldier shouted. Yes, shush now, the doctor whispered as he gently lowered the soldier back to the ground and extracted himself from the soldier's grip. Just hold still. In a few seconds this should be all over. He flaked the screwdriver at the spheres he'd stuck under the pylons. You're lucky. A pair of emergency gravity spheres survived the crash. I've reversed the polarity in them. Should be enough to get this off of you. The spheres pulsed and hummed, and slowly the pylon lifted up. The doctor hovered over the soldier, shielding him from the falling material. The scene beneath the pylon was worse than he thought. He was surprised that the soldier had survived at all. Gently, the doctor slowly extracted the soldier from under the pylon, pulling him free. Seconds later, the gravity spheres overheated and exploded, bringing the pylon crashing back to the ground. The soldier looked back at the doctor. Shouldn't I be... The soldier coughed violently, blood and spit splashing forward. His eyes were becoming wild and confused. The soldier looked around feverishly. What did you do? Hold still now, the doctor shouted as he scanned him with the tablet. He took a deep breath and he saw the results on the screen. It went too far. The regeneration is stalling out. He swallowed. You've never done this before, have you? What's happening? What do you mean, stalling out? The soldier half screamed, half cried. Have you ever regenerated before? The doctor responded sternly. The soldier's body started to convulse. His eyes started to wander about randomly, under no conscious control. Take some deep breaths and look at me. I know it's hard. Now stay with me. You stopped the regeneration in mid-cycle. The soldier grabbed control of his body and stared at the doctor. Am I going to die? The doctor looked away from the soldier. He was thinking 1,000 thoughts. You could hold back a regeneration, you could slow it down, but you could never full-on stop it. Time Lord physiology never was built to stop regeneration once it had started. The shock would kill him. He looked back at the soldier. He was trying to hold back the pain of it. Now, listen to me. The doctor leaned in close to the soldier. You aren't dying today. Not now. Not with me here. Now, look at me and concentrate. I'm going to try to restart your regeneration cycle. You need to follow my lead. I'll give you a little push and then the process will begin. Let it happen. Don't hold back. When you feel it coming, just relax and let your body take over. I don't know if you could survive it if you stopped it a second time. The doctor sat up and leaned back and crossed his legs. He had never been very good at regenerating himself. He shot for danger 7 times and never hit his mark. Never even came close. Half the time, he came out of it in such a mental fog he couldn't remember who he was or what was going on. However, he knew he needed to do this. He'd seen it done a long time ago. He'd been the subject of this kind of procedure once before. He took a deep breath and put his hands together. He closed his eyes and concentrated, remembering the feelings he had the other times he'd regenerated. He could feel the warmth of the energy building in his palms. He opened his eyes and looked down at the soldier. The young man looked terrified, but was holding still. Military training at work. The doctor slowly opened his hands and placed them on the young man's torso. He felt the transference, the flow of energy. The boy's body started to tremble and shake, and the regeneration began. The fire of the miracle exploded into the corridor. The soldier screamed. The doctor knew that scream, the primal rage of death and pain and loss. The brain trying to comprehend itself as the entirety of it was torn down and rebuilt. It was never pleasant. At least he'd never experienced a pleasant regeneration. The fires dimmed, the light faded, and the soldier's body fell limp from the contortions. The new body was shorter, still slight of frame. The hair was blonde, the skin was tan or maybe olive. The doctor sat back against the bulkhead wall and sighed in relief. It had worked. The doctor slowly moved towards the soldier. "Everything will be all right now. The worst is over. Give yourself a few minutes, and then use that time ring of yours. It should be programmed to send you back to the nearest Time Lord base. You'll be fine there." The doctor stood up slowly and started to walk away. He was going to look for parts elsewhere. He got to the end of the corridor when he heard the whine of energy. He stopped and turned around. "I'm sorry, sir." The soldier was standing. The doctor could make out the soldier's silhouette from the glow of the staser pistol. He hadn't seen the holster on his left hip. It had been obstructed. He hadn't noticed it when he pulled the soldier free. "Please, sir, stay where you are." The doctor straightened up and lifted his hand slowly. "There's no need for this. I'm just going to go on my way. You never even have to acknowledge that I was here." "I'm sorry, sir, but under Rassilonian Edict 307, you are a Class A fugitive of the Time Lord High President. I have to bring you in and impound your TARDIS capsule, sir," the soldier said. His voice was thread-like and wavering. His new vocal cords and his brain's memory centers were still trying to agree as to what he should sound like. "I appreciate that you saved my life, sir, but you have to know that I can't just let you walk away. You have vital materials that could help us win the war. If I let you go, what's to stop what happened to me from happening to someone else? My brethren, my fellow soldiers are dying out here, and you have what we need to win the war." "I won't go," the doctor replied sternly. "You will have to kill me. I won't return to Gallifrey. I'm working on the solution, but I need more time." "More time?" The soldier walked forward, the staser pointed at the doctor. He walked into the shard of light that had appeared when the doctor had freed him, and the pylon had crashed back down. His face was contorted in anger and tears. "This war has been going on for centuries now. The universe is falling apart. The Daleks have taken so many of my comrades' lives. My friends, my family have died. All because of this war." The soldier took a deep breath and looked away ashamed, and then looked pleadingly at the doctor. "I have been forced to do things for the sake of survival and for the sake of our mission. I have killed innocent people, Doctor. I have launched attacks on neutral worlds just to change the timelines to our favor. Rassilon says he can end this war if you are brought back to him." "Rassilon is a liar," the doctor said, pursing his lips. He looked stealthily down at his jacket pocket and tried to calculate if he could get the sonic screwdriver out before the soldier could shoot. The man was slightly shaking, holding the pistol with both hands. The doctor took a step forward. The soldier took a step back but never lowered the weapon. "You said you had to do horrible things. Don't you see that Rassilon is as much a monster as—" "Don't you finish that sentence!" the soldier growled, and retook his position, moving closer to the doctor. "Rassilon saved Gallifrey. When the Daleks started their bombardment of the Citadel, it was Rassilon who rallied the court guard. It was Rassilon who fortified the Eastern Mountain defenses that repelled the Supreme Daleks' elite brigade. And where were you?" "I was cleaning up Rassilon's mess. I was trying to stop this war." The doctor growled. He didn't care anymore, and he started to stalk forward. The soldier flustered in the face of the doctor, backing away but trying to maintain control of the situation, pointing the staser. But he didn't fire. "I may not have been on the battlefield of Gallifrey, but I was out in the universe trying to find a way to avert this hell. I was the one that talked to Navarinos into launching the 5th campaign of the Gates of Elysium. I tried to capture Davros before the Nightmare Child consumed his battle saucer. He continued to stomp forward, 5 more feet, then 4. The soldier staggered back but hit the bulkhead. I stopped the Daleks' use of the block transfer matrix at Arcadia, so don't dare imply I haven't seen my share of horrors, that I haven't seen the monstrosities out there. He was now within arm's reach. He lashed out and grabbed the staser. The soldier fought him. As he struggled for control, the doctor wrestled the pistol from the soldier's hands. Then he looked at the pistol, and then looked back at the soldier. He said more gently, "You shouldn't point a gun at someone unless you're going to use it." "You're wanted alive, sir." The soldier glared back at the doctor and then clenched his fist and pivoted forward. "Don't," the doctor said, swinging the pistol up and pointing it at the soldier. And the soldier froze. The doctor caught the look in the eyes of the soldier, and then twisted the pistol back on himself. He took a step back. "If you make another move like that, I'll shoot myself. At this range, the staser bolt will kill me before the regeneration cycle can begin." With his free hand, the doctor reached into his pocket and pulled out a fob watch from his vest. "This is a biomonitor. If I die, it sends a message to my TARDIS that will initiate a program that sets the randomizer. She'll disappear into the chaos and shut down. You'll never find her. If I die, all those secrets Rassilon wanted will disappear forever. Now activate your time ring. Forget I was here. If anyone asks, just make something up." The soldier stared at the doctor for a few minutes. The doctor held firm the staser pistol pressed against his temple, staring straight back at the soldier. The soldier put his hands on his sash and pulled a ring from the clasp. He grasped the ring and the jewels started to glow, and he disappeared in a fuzzy haze of light. The doctor took a deep breath and fell back against the bulkhead and slid down to the ground. He stared at the pistol in his hands. He was lucky the soldier was a rookie. A more experienced soldier would have called his bluff. He wondered if he could have gone through with it. He looked at the sharp-framed weapon. He knew the answer, the truth underneath all his bluster. His jaw tightened as he narrowed his eyes and then flung the gun into the shadows of the wreckage. He slowly got himself back up onto his feet. There was a light beeping noise coming from his satchel, the tablet announcing that ships were breaching the planet's atmosphere. He slowly weaved his way back towards the exit and slipped out of the bowship as the first Kazon vessel burned towards some safe landing ground nearby. He would now have to go somewhere else to find the parts he needed.